President Joe Biden hitting the campaign trail today in Michigan after his highly watched press conference that did little to quiet calls for him to step away from the presidential race, especially after this notable slip.
I wouldn't have picked Vice President Trump to be vice president, but I think she was not qualified to be president.
Yeah, the president's team now hoping to quiet concerns before the Democratic National Convention next month. Meantime, a new front in the presidential campaign opened today as Democrats posted billboards critical of something, Jonathan, called Project 2025.
That's right. In faith, the billboards that you might have seen tie it to Republican Donald Trump, raising a big question: what is Project 2025? 11 Alive's Doug Richards live tonight in Midtown with some answers for us. Doug.
Yeah, Project 2025 is a 900-page document that actually is pretty easy to find online, and its critics say that it presents a dangerous and extremist template for a potential second term of Donald Trump.
We are at war against MAGA, Project 2025, white nationalism.
This gathering of Donald Trump critics Thursday invoked several unflattering references to Project 2025, which it turns out is a thick document produced by the Heritage Foundation, a well-known conservative think tank. Though Trump did not produce it, Project 2025 is the product of Trump backers who want the Republican to have a coherent plan if he starts a second term next year.
To being able to really articulate an agenda for an administration.
Republican Jason Shepard says Trump's previous administration spent months trying to find its footing.
And if you wait 2 years, you wait 3.5 years, you wait 3 years to get everyone through, then that's a lot of time wasted.
Project 2025 calls for the next president to exercise more control over the government under what it calls the unitary executive theory. It would sweep out civil service government workers and replace them with political appointees, while eliminating the U.S. Department of Education. On policy, it calls for big tax cuts for corporations and individual incomes, including the wealthy. It would cut funding for renewable energy and cut carbon reduction goals with more fossil fuel. It describes life as beginning at conception. It also targets what it calls woke culture warriors by cutting sexual orientation and gender identity from government literature. Critics say it's an appalling agenda.
What troubles me the most is just the explicitness of the extremism. We've never seen them talk in this kind of a swaggering, explicit way about basically gutting our democracy.
Now, Trump himself has distanced himself from Project 2025, but it is a product of many Trump backers, many Trump insiders, and it would be available for him to peruse if he does, in fact, get elected again. We are live in Midtown tonight. Back to you.
Doug, thank you so much. There's quite a lot happening in this race for the White House. And on Monday, NBC's Lester Hall is sitting down with President Joe Biden in an exclusive one-on-one interview. You can watch a preview of NBC Nightly News and then the full unedited interview in a primetime special at 9 p.m. on Monday. And then you can stay with NBC News for special coverage of the Republican National Convention that takes place at 9:30.